Welcome to Aliub Dunks. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Konstantinos. Welcome back, everybody, after a great double week. But now it's time for round 20. So let's get straight into it. Konstantinos.
Yep, round 20 is around the corner, so let's start with our suggestions for the coaches.
Okay,
So,
so go for it.
yeah, so for the top tier market, we have with 9.7 credits, Ergin Ataman, the coach from Anadolu Efes. They play at home versus Bayern for this round. Bayern is not that steady, not that stable team, and FS now has also Shane Larkin back, so almost not almost, but full roster active now. So also they are in the eighth seed, so they want to improve their standing position. So it's a good opportunity for them to have a good game, and plus, after half the season, the first half of the season, then FS will start to picking up and rolling and improving their position in the overall standings, closing to the to the end of the season. So the first option is Ataman that we have, and then if we go to the mid tier market,
Yeah, because the rest of this top rank, they pretty much play each other, right?
yeah, so
So,
better to avoid these derby games.
so let's go in the mid market. So
Yep.
below
hmm
it to this, so below the 8 credits.
hmm And then with 6.7 credits, we have Oded Katash, the coach from Maccabi. Maccabi is also playing at home versus Alba Berlin. Uh, is a good opportunity for them, to have a big win, as Maccabi used to have at home, a convincing win, let's say, and also getting back to the winning ways. Uh, yep. If you.
Yeah, they are quite strong at home, and they
Yep.
really perform well. And we see on the last game we have both guards playing well, and especially Colson, as you can see on the right, he exploded with 41 fantasy points versus Panathinaikos. So if he keeps up that with the position, or with the quality in the other positions, it's going to be tough for the
That's
opponents. That they also have many injuries to deal with, right?
yeah. That's true. That's true. Um, but Maccabi is Maccabi. They started the first half of the season. They had their ups and downs, but they had some very, very convincing wins. It was one of the teams to watch, honestly. Uh, then we go to the deep value market, in which we have two options. So the first option is Sergio Scariolo, the coach from Virtus, as you see with 5.5 credits. Uh, Virtus is playing versus Panathinaikos at home again, home game. Um, so Virtus is one of the, not gonna say best, but they're one of the good defensive teams this year in Euroleague, and also Panathinaikos is not having the best year so far. So it's an for these reasons is a good opportunity, good chance for Virtus to win at home. Uh, Personally, I want to see Teodosic versus Panathinaikos to see will he have a double technicals this in this game, or he will finish the game. I mean, the last games it was so intense for Teodosic, but also his quality is unbelievable, unbelievable. Such a great player.
Quality minutes this year. He's very productive in the reduced minutes he's playing.
That's true. That's true. And the other coach that we have is Ettore Messina with 5.3 credits. Of course, you see this total minus 30, and you will say, "What on earth are you saying for suggesting this coach?" But Armani needs to find a way to, go back to the winning days. And also, they have made some wins which surprised us, to be honest. But other than that, we believe that Armani has the quality, to be on the winning side in this round.
And they're also playing in Milano, so they're playing at their home versus another team that is towards the bottom as well, Villeurbanne. Um, so if we see the opponent, um, it's gonna be definitely a big game. But it's the last two teams currently at the standings playing each other. So we have also Alba just with 6 wins, 6-13 record. So the loser of this game is gonna be remaining in the last position, while the winner maybe will try to get closer to the, let's say, 13 position, that is just 2 wins away. So we see how it goes, but it's definitely going to be one that Messina and Milano really need to win.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So these are our suggestions for the coaches. As you see, we have, if you want to spend more for the players, we have two suggestions from the deep value market. So you may spend less for a coach if you want, and then give more for the players. But let's move to the player suggestions, right, Bill?
Yeah, and we're going to start with centers, and we're going to go with the usuals because we love Lesort here, and we love Motley as well. And after Motley doing 41.8, we can exclude him from the list. So for the top tier market, Motley with 15.1 is our first option. He has to, continue his good form. He was one of our offering suggestions, let's say, last week. So the 41.80 was a great result. But unfortunately, we took him off our team. I'm not sure what we were thinking, but things happen. And the other option, as I said, is Lesort, of course, with 16.5, a little bit more expensive, but definitely more steady in his production. As you can see, uh, double digits as long as you can look at. And actually, it's great to see that the whole year, not even once had a single digit game. And I mean, fingers crossed. That's not knock on wood. This is not the case here, right? Um, so then we move to the mid market, and we have um, a player that he was one of the players we used to suggest here, probably at the first part of the season. So Usurpa Fall, it seems like he's coming back on the good performances since the other center of the team is injured. And I'm talking about Taus, of course, that he had amazing games. Now he's getting back again, more minutes, and he's been productive on the floor. So you can see the last two games in this double week, 31 against Barcelona with 23 points, and 14 versus Valencia with 12 points. Now, the second option on this mid-market category is Mickey. And let's see. So Mickey should be somewhere here in the list. There he is. So 9.2 credits for Mickey. And he had a tough double week. And if we see the last three games, he wasn't exceptional. But I think it's his chance against Panathinaikos, because of the fact that he can stretch out from the position of five. He's probably going to be able to put some difficult defensive assignments for Panathinaikos centers, and for that reason, the way that he can play, we think is a very good chance for him picking up again and getting back to double digits fantasy points. Going into the deep value market, so anything below 8 credit, we can see Timor plays. So he didn't start the season, as you can see down, so successfully, although he was coming after a great season with FS. But things weren't clicking very well. But now, look at this double week he had. Plus 17 versus Valencia and plus 16.5 versus Barcelona. Both having double digits in scoring, and as we can see here on the right, his minutes are increased, so 20 and 31 minutes. If he keeps on like this, the 7 credits probably are a very good bargain, even to keep him for more in your team. But then again, that is if he can keep on with these good performances that we've seen last week. Then the last center in our list is Paco. Um, Baco is coming from a double-digit game, fantasy-wise, 14 performance points versus Olympiacos, and as you can see, he grabbed 5 rebounds, scored 8 points, had 2 steals, only 1 turnover, 1 block, and he only missed 1 shot. So in 25 minutes on the floor, he was very productive for Virtus, and he should be able to continue this productive time on the court. So with 7.7, Baco is our last option from the center position. So with that, I think, Konstantinos, we can move on to the forward position suggestions.
Yep. So let's move to the forward position, and for one more round, we will not say the obvious name of Vejankov because we want. He had a good game last game, but we want to see him, starting rolling again. So from the top tier market, we will start with Will Clyburn as an option. If you see in the games in Spain for round 18 and 19, he did not have this good of performances and good games. Maybe it's an impact of Shane Larkin that he's back now with the team, but we do believe that versus Bayern there is a big opportunity for Will Clyburn to be back on the winning days for FS and on the big performances for Clyburn as well.
And he was benched in the Turkish league game, so he should have all the energy saved for this Euroleague game.
That's true. That's true. So he will be rested enough, so he can have a big game. And then we go to Derek Williams. So the forward from Panathinaikos, he had a very good and contributed in many areas game versus Maccabi for Panathinaikos. He scored 17 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 0 turnovers, and 1 block as well. It was a big win for Panathinaikos. They needed it, but they always need a good Williams um, in order to win. So keep that in mind. And for this reason, we are suggesting Derek Williams as another option.
And also, I wanted to add that he missed only 3 shots the previous game, and last time around versus Virtus, he had probably the one of his best games. He had 33 PR, 26 points, 8 rebounds. So he has the momentum, and we have also this result from the first round. So hopefully we have a repeat of that.
Hmm. Yes, that's true. And from the top tier market, the last option we have is maybe page three. No,
Let's see if we type here.
yeah,
There he is.
there he is, Nicolo Melli, with 11.4 credits. Armani is playing versus Asphalt, as Bill said earlier. Um, you see, even versus Zalgiris, he had only 4 points, but grabbed 8 rebounds, and he managed to have +9 fantasy points. Not that you know satisfying for a fantasy GM, but versus Asfel, we believe that he has the quality, and he will get definitely the minutes to have a big game. Uh, on the other side, I cannot recall a big, forward that can guard him from the Asphalt team. I know Noah uh, is a good player, but Melik has the skills and everything is set on the table for him to have a good game. And Armani has a W.
And he had 16 points in the league this weekend, the past weekend. So he's hopefully coming back to his top form.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. So these are our options from the top tier market. And if we go to the mid market options, yeah, with 9.7 credits, Nigel Hayes Davis is an option from Fenerbahce. If you see around 18, he had +33. He exploded versus Panathinaikos. And then versus Bayern, he kept it up. If you see, he scored only 4 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, but he managed to finish with +14.3 fantasy points. Why? Because he also has 3 assists. Uh, as we see, 3 steals, which means he contributes in the defensive side on the court, and only 1 turnover. So this makes Hayes Davis a very efficient player on the court, and as we see, he can has impact on several areas on the game of Fenerbahce.
So what's next?
What's next? How about Mitrovic with 8.8 credits? He did not have good games recently, but in his last game, if you see, if I remember, he had 24 fantasy points. Yeah, 24.2 fantasy points, and also in the game versus Monaco, which Monaco is one of the good teams based on the roster they have this year. So he managed to score 15 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, um, has 4 assists. Do I see correctly?
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 assists. So again, you see how can a player impact in several areas a game. So if you see round 17 and 18 was not the best rounds for Mitrovic, but he's back on the plus 20 fantasy points games. Only 2 turnovers if you see 1 block, only 2 missed shots. So this is very, very important. If you don't lose points fantasy wise. So versus Zalgiris doesn't have the forward that can guard, the defensive minded forward that can guard Kavanaugh is off. They acquired Polonara, so but he needs time to adjust, new team, new system, new teammates. So for these reasons, we believe Mitrovic can have a good game for Crvena Zvezda.
and last option for
Yeah.
this mid market.
Yeah, for 8 credits, it is Webb from Valencia. He does not have the most stable season so far. But if you see the last game, he had 12.1 fantasy points with scoring 8 points. grabbing 3 rebounds. Um, he is one of the players that if he gets minutes, he is productive, in a way. So Valencia has some absences in the last game, some injuries. So if you see he's getting more time, Webb is getting more time. So um, you see 9.9 fantasy points versus FS and 12.1 versus Asphalt, which is very, very important. And in Asabe, he had a double double with 12 points and 10 rebounds, which plays a role because, as I said, Webb is a player that he gets more minutes, he is more productive on the court. So for this reason, and he's playing at home versus Partizan, it is a game that can, for Webb, he can flourish on the court and have a good game.
Perfect. So what's next? We're moving to the deep value, right?
Yeah, we're moving to the deep value market, and one option that we suggest, I think we had this player in the past in one of our teams, if I'm not mistaken, is Charles Kahudi from Asphalt. I think we had this player when he had the 4 versus FS, and once we removed that player from our team, he is back in form. That's the recipe to avoid when you build your team. So as you see, Charles Cahuri versus Barcelona, he had plus 11 fantasy points. I mean, he scored 11 points and grabbed 2 rebounds. And versus Valencia, scoring 13 points, grabbing 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and plus 20 fantasy points. Uh, I mean, what more can you ask from a player with 6.2 credits?
Actually, with
Um,
5.7, right? Because that
yeah,
round he was costing 5.7.
yeah. For
Yes,
5.7, yeah, it was, it's a steal,
super. It's a
basically.
super steal. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last option that we suggest is Marinkovic from Baskonia with 4.7 credits. As you see, versus Partizan, he had only 4 fantasy points, but he scored 16 points, grabbed 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Um, I think he was a top scorer for Basconia, if I'm not mistaken, on that game. But Basconia Andre didn't play in that game, so and Howard did not play. But he steps up. He you might see some negative fantasy points with minus 0.9 versus Real, minus 5 versus Alba, minus 7 versus Bayern. But also in Spain, he had 11 points and 4 assists in just 17 minutes. So, and you know how Basconi is playing at home. It's like run and gun. It reminds me of Phoenix Suns. They had like these under D'Antoni coach. They had this. I don't remember.
Steve Nash. Yeah.
Yeah, with Steve Nash and Stadamar. The I don't know in the rule how they call it, the 10-sec rule,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was something like that. Yes.
something like that. So Basconia reminds me of this, and we don't know yet. There is a possibility that Howard does not play, and also Pierre Henry does not play due to different injuries. Um, so it's a good game for Marinkovic again to show his scoring abilities and have a big game for Basconia.
Okay. So with that, I can move on then to the guards. And let's see here for the expensive options of the day. We will go with the first guy in the list. So Misic, there is no much to say because you can see his average here. Of course, he is the player, a motor for FS, and you see 34 minutes averaging. He was also benched as well in Turkish league this weekend, so he should be ready to give all his energy for the game against Bayern. And we can see from what game he's coming back on the big derby against Barcelona in Catalonia in Spain. He had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 29.7 performance, and he helped FS win on a big win. So there is a high chance that he can do the same again now that he got this small pause from action. And also we can see versus Barcelona in the first round he was also amazing, and the same thing happened with Bayern. So let's see if that streak continues and we have another 25 plus from Misic. Now, the next option is a veteran, De Colo. He was benched versus Barcelona. I think he wasn't even in the squad, and not because he was injured, but just to give him, some more space to regain his energy. And then after that, he came back on round 19, 5 assists, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 21 fantasy points. So happy days. Against Armani, we expect him to again have a good game, and he will be critical for as well if they want to go in Milano and do something big. We can see also in the first round he had 19 fantasy points. He scored 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So chances are he also has another quality game. Maybe another point we can add on this is if you see his averages, he's very consistent apart from small hiccup here on his on giving back double digits. So then finally, the player who closes our suggestions for this top tier market is Vildoza. Um, he didn't play much in the Adriatic League and the past weekend, and he didn't. I think it was Monday, if I remember correct. And he didn't have the greatest of games versus Monaco, especially in terms of fantasy. But maybe it's time to get back to the explosive performances we know from him. We can see at the first round versus Zalgiris, although it was that in Serbia, but still he had the high 27 points and 4 steals, amazing 4 steals, and he had 26.4 fantasy points. So we are betting because that has a little bit of risk that he's ready, and he's ready actually to go big against Algiris. That also, of course, they're missing their biggest star of the first half, the injured Evans. Now, going into mid market, so anything less than 11 credits, we have as first option Wilbekin. So Scotty Wilbekin seems to slowly start getting back to rhythm. He's such a quality player that can pick up at any moment. Also, next to Kalahis and Motley in the team, he's taking the responsibilities he should, so he's not overdoing stuff, and that has actually paid dividends to his performances. Also, I wanted to add he had a very good game in the Turkish league. So in the last game, he had 17 points and 5 assists and only 1 turnover. So we think he's back in form most probably. Difficult game, but we know Wilbekin is really likes the big games. So the next option here is another a player that had a good domestic league game, and that's Winston. Just 8.6 credits. You can see the average of 10.7 points that he's scoring, and you can see in the double week he had 16 and 12 points. This lit up some assist as well, and he gave back double digits on the fantasy. And now is a big game versus FS. We know FS is back with all their big players, but Bayern needs someone to step up, and for the guard position, our bet goes with Winston. Finally, on the deep value market, so anything below eight credits, we have a player that we have been suggesting long, and he's been having some good games, and that's Dobrich, and he's also in our team and stayed there. As you can see here, from round 14 onwards, he has double digits return. He started from 5.9 credits. Now he's 7.6. So a huge jump. Um, this from Dobrich, and his game is actually proving that he worth it. He's having many games with double digit points. He's grabbing rebounds, as you can see here, at least 4 rebounds on all this good streak he has. He's dishing some assists occasionally, so he can do different things on the floor, and we can see also that he's getting the minutes. So 28, 28, 27, 33. So versus Algiris, last time he didn't have much time, and it wasn't one of the best of his games. But maybe that's his chance to change that on this following round.
Actually, after this game, after Zalgiris, then he started to pick it up, as you said, and because of the injuries to Vildoza and of the issue with Campazzo that he's not still playing in Euroleague, Nedovic and Dobric, they have shined in all these rounds, especially for Dobric, is something very, very important. As you see, that's why you see the jump. That's why we see the jump on his value on the
Yeah,
card.
exactly. Exactly. And finally, we have Alessandro Baiola from Virtus. We just 6.4 credits, and we're looking at his streak here, double week with double digits returns. He can do a little bit of everything, as you can see here. So he can distribute the ball very well. You can see the high 10 assists that he had versus Fenerbahce. He can play good defense and steal the ball. So he's a very important guard for Virtus. And with 6.4 is probably the best bet you can get in having something, it returns above your credits here.
Mhm, mhm.
And with that, I think we can move on to our team's performance, and maybe our team's formation from the next round, I would say.
Mhm.
So here is the Alley-oop Dunks, our main team. So do you want to walk us through?
So yes, of course. So if I just don't see the top side of the screen, so I don't see how we performed last round.
Oh, we don't want to
Oh,
see that.
oh, okay, no, no,
Uh,
no, 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 that's a nightmare. So, yeah,
it was very bad double
you,
week for us. You
yeah,
see,
it
we
was,
didn't even we missed on capitals. It's disaster.
yeah. So sorry about that. I have to apologize. Sorry. Um, yes. So we move on to round 20 straight. Um, as you see, we made three changes and also the coach. So we had Mateo as coach. He gave us 10 fantasy points, but now we choose Ergin Ataman. They have a game versus Bayern, and we believe that FS has the potential to win big this game. So that's why we spend 9.7 credits on the coach. It is a lot, but you can get a lot in return as well. Um, we kept Lasort, we kept Tavares, our center duo. Tavares has not the easy game. Let's say it's a difficult game versus Olympiacos, but still He can defend the paint and also scoring be one of the scoring options for Real Madrid. That's why we kept both players. At forward, we kept again Pander. So Partizan is playing versus Valencia. Valencia is not of the best defensive team, so Pander as a main scoring option for Partizan, he can have a big game scoring wise. Then we brought Misic instead of Nedovic, and also we brought Vildoza instead of Lorenzo Brown. So we changed basically our guards. So as Bill said earlier, we believe Misic can have a very, very good game versus Bayern. He's back on form, as we saw versus Barcelona. And Vildoza, I mean, you remember versus Olympiacos, he had 31.9 fantasy points. Now he's back from his injury. It's best. He has the best opportunity for him to shine on the court versus Algiers. And the last change we made is we brought Ulanovas from Zalgiris instead of Musa. Musa has a tough game versus Olympiacos. So for this reason, we brought Ulanovas. Without Keenan Evans, Ulanovas can be the leader on the court for Zalgiris and can affect and impact the game in several ways. So versus Crvena Zvezda, we believe Ulanovas can have a decent game and give us the fantasy points we want.
And then we
For
talked
the
about Dobric earlier,
yeah.
so
I was
if
gonna
he
say
stays
for
on
the
the team.
rest. Yeah. For the rest, Dobrich doesn't go anywhere, uh, because of his recent performances. I mean, with 7.6 credits, it's still based on what he gives back, 12 or 16.5 fantasy points on the last.
Especially with the points we gave to, with the credits we gave to acquire him, because we got him, I think, 3 rounds ago, if I remember correct.
Yeah, he
Mm.
was in our second team, but then we brought him in our first team. We had to make a change because we don't have the same players in both teams. And then the rest of the team, as you see, is Lazarevic and Schneider at forward and Lundzis at guard. So these are all with 4 credit options. Um, but you never know. Lazarevic has some games with that gave 12 fantasy points, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, versus Olympiacos, and then it gives 2 to 4 depending the game. Versus Algiris, it had 9.9, so you still don't know. But we hope that he can give at least from 2 to 5 fantasy points to us. Schneider, it depends on the game as well. As you see, versus Real, he had the -3, but versus Monaco, he had 16. So again, not stable and steady games, but we hope can give from 1 to 5 fantasy points and
I mean,
loses maybe
yeah,
this is DNP, but you know,
yeah. I think for us, what is important on this ones is not to lose any credit. So
yeah,
4 is the minimum, is the bottom. You can lose any credits with 4. So if you have less than 5, but you don't find anyone that you really like, it's best to get a player with just 4 credits than a player with 4.6, let's say, or 4.8, because you are risking a reduction in your valuation, in your total valuation of the team. So we can see the credits here. So that's the reason Lazarevic hasn't gone anywhere with 4 credits, and the chances that he give us anything is the best, probably,
yeah,
choice there.
that's true.
Cool. So good luck, and hopefully we have better results for the next episode.
Yeah, hopefully, and doesn't happen something like the Motley effect.
Yeah, we suggested Motley here twice, and but we got him out of our main team, and then he got 41.8, and we actually had him. We had him as our captain. I think we got sentimental that we had him as our captain. He gave us some, I don't even remember, something less than 10, probably, if I remember correct.
Yeah,
But
it was
anyway,
nine
something
point.
very
Yeah,
low.
Yeah,
exactly, something very low, and then I think just um, we let the emotions get the best out of us. We threw him out, and then yeah, it was painful.
yeah, it was. But yeah, we hope this round will be a better round for us and for our team. We hope you had a good round and have an even better round for round 20. Um, you may leave your comments, your suggestions below. Yes, Bill?
I was thinking also we can show maybe our deep value team as well.
Well, I don't
Um,
know. Is that of a nightmare or?
I actually particularly like the formation this this round. Let me see. So no, 160 actually on the
Oh, it's
previous.
better.
So
Okay, then
fair.
we can show. Yeah, we can show that. No,
Yeah,
okay,
so
that's not.
in the double week we got an increase of zero point 0.6 credits. So having this in mind maybe was a positive with Petrusev being our captain, and as you can see here, 55, and then Bacon, Misic doing quite well. So Degerski is helping us a little bit there, and of course Matteo giving us the 10 points. So for this coming week, um, we decided to try to get some uh, big names. So for that reason, we wanted Clyburn. So we had to trade Bacon for Clyburn, and we also had to trade Matteo because it was more expensive for a cheaper coach. And for deep value coaches, we went with Scariolo, 5.5 credits. Then we've seen James had a great game, 32 fantasy points versus Cervena Zvezda. Hopefully that means that James is coming back. So we're gonna take the risk there, because as you can see, from round 15 that it was okays. Then 16, 17, 18, they were three fantasy-wise at least bad rounds for Mike James. So we're gonna take the risk, and actually we're gonna have him as our captain for the first half of this round. And then the last change we made is taking out Misic because he had to be promoted to the main team, and Brown is dropped to this team. So it's a swap pretty much. Brown, of course, we know he's one of the best players, and against Berlin, he had a mediocre game the last on the first half of the season. So maybe it's his chance to do better, especially when Alba is missing many key players. Um, so that's our dynamic duo here at the cards, and then of course Petrusev stays, and we have Sedekerskis and Hayes Davis from previously here, Kuric as well, and of course in the bench, as I said, Clyburn, Mahmutoglu, Pradilla, that with 4.4 is a very good choice, and then Adams um, from Maccabi.
And especially Pradilla because Rivero is injured and he's not playing. So Pradilla is getting playing time.
Yeah, I think for that we should say also that Dubljevic is having actually um, very good games, a very good form lately.
Yeah, that's true. He had a consecutive rounds with amazing games. He
Mm.
he he really took the team on his back and just he was performing round after round.
Yeah, especially with Chris Zone being injured, and they needed a star to step up. So that's our team, and then if things don't go amazing for James, then we have Clyburn, of course, that he's rested and playing on the second day, and he can take the captain responsibility for us. And
Also Petrusev for round two.
Petrusev as well, yes, that's a good choice as well.
I mean, Clyburn is the obvious choice, but also based on the recent form, Petrusev cannot be ignored as an option for a captain.
Exactly. I mean, if it was on round one, definitely. But on round two, if I have to choose between Petrusev and Clyburn, probably I would go with Clyburn.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Good. So, as Costadino said, yeah, you can give us also your suggestions down in the comments and in Twitter, and please follow us there. And we would like to hear your opinions around all this.
Yep. And we will also share any update about injuries or availability of players in our Twitter. So also feel free to share your own suggestions with us, and uh, let's have a great round.
Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
See you.